good afternoon all. It's not so easy to talk after this very nice presentation we had this morning and this afternoon, but anyway, I will try to do my best to honor all my colleagues that have participated to the work I will present. So it will just be an update on where we are with the partnership on the preparation of the partnership on the pandemic preparedness. Lots of things have been done till the launch of the work itself, and I will try to explain where we are, and of course, all the comment, question, remarks are more than welcome. So, the context. I think till this morning you got a lot of information, so I will not spend all the afternoon on that, but it has been a reality facing COVID, and I think COVID is not the only example. It has been the same with Ebola and with other former disease, etc., Zika, etc. Lots of things were not there, going from knowledge on the pathogen itself, going through the physiopathology of the disease, the transmission is also an important question in terms of public health, and also the availability of countermeasures and the capacity when there were some candidates to be in position to launch clinical trials and to test their efficiency in a global population. So I think that's a reality. It's not a criticism. In addition, of course, we all know that the fragmentation, it is something we heard at the European level for many years, but not only. It remains a reality in some domains, so each country decided to develop its own program with its own strategy, and of course, at the level of a single country facing a pandemic, it's not enough and it cannot work. So, of course, there is a need for coordination or trying to coordinate at the European level. So, in this frame, we have had the opportunity with the Commission that has launched a call dedicated to the preparation of a future partnership. So it's a coordination and support activity that has been launched a few years ago. The budget is only 2 million euros because, of course, it's mostly a tabletop work. And at the present time, we have 26 partners coming from 13 European countries. It was at the very beginning, but you will see that additional one will join, and 2 associated countries that also join. So the general coordination is ensured by your agency in France, but of course all the partners have the same level of responsibility within this development. The duration goes from June last year to May next year, so it's not such a long time to prepare all this work and to have something that could work as a partnership, but anyway, it's going on. And the work packages have been organized under 3 main pillars. The first one, of course, are around the building of the partnership, so there are one work package dedicated to coordination, another one to the design of the partnership itself, how it will work, which kind of activity it will develop, what will be the links with external bodies, etc., and within the global landscape. The second one, that is of course also very important, is there to describe which kind of research and innovation will be supported in the frame of this partnership. So this is a strategic research and innovation agenda. And the third pillar, of course, is also of main importance. It's more dedicated to links with the other activities and initiatives and bodies. So in relation with the potential stakeholders we need to talk with if we don't want to be to continue on the fragmentation. And of course, in order to be in close contact also with our target, the population and the patient themselves. So it is something of main importance. Of course, also a part of these links are very important with the Commission itself. At the time we sent the proposal, HERA was not there. It was not, nobody knows exactly what it would be, which kind of entity it would be. So we had a specific work package for the links with HERA. But since HERA already exists as a directorate, then we have moved to something where we are in close link, and I can say it's very often with the European Commission involved in these kind of questions. So something also that I changed till the beginning. So at the very beginning, it was planned to have a co-program partnership. And finally, based on the work that was performed, the exchange of all the member state representatives, it has been decided to move to a co-funded. The targeted budget is 200 million euros for 7 to 10 years. And we expect that it will be initiated in the third part of next year. So another thing is that in between, another coordinating and support activities was also in the tube. And it has not been cancelled, but it was there mostly probably to help also to move better to implementation of the future partnership. It is something quite classical when you are used to develop infrastructures at the European level. You can perform all the methodological works you want. When you move to implementation, the story is never the same. So to have an implementation phase and to have the support from the Commission is also something very important. So the call for the partnership itself has been launched this year. It will end by the end of November. And as I mentioned, the budget, so there will be 2 phases for the partnership itself. The Commission has said, we have some money now, so please use it. So the target for the first phase, that will be for 2 or 3 years, will be 100 million euros, with half a part coming from the Commission and half a part coming from the member state. So if we have a short focus on what will be the partnership itself, its description, so of course the vision is quite critical to establish the European research and innovation ecosystem that will be optimal, etc., to be better prepared to the next pandemic. So that's, I think, something very important. But the activities that are planned are also, I think, quite classical, because the idea is first to align research. Because if we don't align research based on a common agreement on a strategy, research and innovation strategy, it will never work. So we need to convince the member state that will be partners of the future partnership that they accept the global structures and that they accept also to align on this strategy. This does not mean that all the European countries will do the same. This means that at least they will bring something to the scientific research and innovation agenda we will propose. To boost research also, of course, I will comment a little bit more. To support research infrastructure, it has been something that has been key also, and that we are always been facing during a crisis. Most of the time, lots of infrastructure are not prepared to face a crisis, or even at the right level to face the preparedness during the inter-epidemic period. And of course, something that will mostly focus on capacity building. There are lots of needs also to share our knowledge, our skills within the different countries, because we know that one nation cannot do all at this level. So if we look at the way we want to align research, so I already comment a little bit. Of course, how to do so and to bring something to the work that is that is performed at the present time is, of course, that we perform a regular analysis of the 3A based on the context itself, because things are moving on. So we need to ensure that everything works. There can be new information that should be included within the development of this strategy. So it is the way we will proceed to align research. And of course, the best way to do so is to encourage most of the member states to participate within the discussion. The more participants we will have, the best it will be. To boost research. So to boost research, of course, it will be something of main importance, already more or less mentioned. I think we need to initiate for emerging infectious disease the global flow of research, going from basic research to more practical research, and going, of course, to clinical trials through R&D, because there are steps that remains research. The research and development is important, and most of the time it is also missing. So it will go and cover a lot of domain. It will also cover research dedicated to the tools and the analyses that should be developed to help for the public health decision that are needed, because the people in charge of these kind of things, if they don't have any data, if they don't have any evidence, they cannot propose anything at the governmental level. And of course, to be in position to help in the development of potential candidates for new countermeasures. It is something also most of the time that is performed at a low level. We have discovered that during the last crisis, lots of promising results were in the articles, the scientific articles, but nothing had been done concerning their testing in animal models or even in other models, and trying also to move to things that help a lot when you have a crisis. For example, if it works well in animal models, then to move to a scale-up of the product, because the quality of the product you use in the lab is not the same you will use with animals, but also, of course, with patients. So this will be tackled within the partnership through transnational calls that will match, of course, with the strategic research and innovation agenda. To support research infrastructure, so as I mentioned, there is a crucial need. And so things have already been done, because the Commission, till many years, supports some European infrastructures, but I think we shall do more. We have identified the fact that some are still missing, and there has been a crucial debates around the clinical trial platform. That is a real debate. And I often discuss, because I'm not a clinician, so it is something I discovered more or less during the crisis. But one example is the fact that the vaccine has been developed very fast. But what has taken time is the clinical trial essay behind. So it is something that has to be tackled, and I think most of the member states at the present time in Europe, but also outside, are convinced about this, and there is a crucial need to help in this domain. So in the frame of capacity building, there are lots. We are talking about data sharing. Of course, it is part of that, but not only. There is an issue because in many countries, we realize that some specific scientific community were missing. I think, for example, in France, I can say in the vaccine domain and science, it was something that was a reality. The communities that were used, and that lots of academic skills in the frame of vaccine were no more there, and it was difficult to launch new programs, new discovery that will goes afterwards into the flow of development, etc. So it is something that is quite essential. There are position or training that does not exist. For example, we are missing some specific skills in the frame of science. There are some domains where you don't find anybody, and it does not concern only researchers. For example, when you are managing a high containment facility, you need a lot of workers that you cannot find on the market because they do not exist. So that's a broad spectrum of needs, I think, but it is something that will have to be tackled in the future, and to try to launch new training and to improve the education that is available at the present time. So here you have the figure that represent the way the governance will be organized. So I will not comment because I will spend the afternoon otherwise, but it's quite classical. You have the decision-making level where you will have all the people that bring the money, and the executive level where the work will be done, and of course the operational level that is essential, and where you find, I think, what is the most important is the different pillars that represent the different activities that will be covered, and that I've been talking about just before. So if we move to the strategic research and innovation agenda, I can promise that the first meeting were quite strange because all the representatives of the different countries, member states, or institute are their own view on that. And we decided to put everything on the table. So each participant could say, okay, I will make a list of what I believe is very important to see in a strategic research and innovation agenda, And afterward, based on this, we have tried to build something that were more or less better structured, but where everyone could find his idea in one of the categories we have chosen. So, of course, it is based on something that everybody knows now: prepare, understand, prevent and anticipate, and respond and control. So, but that's fine, but it's not enough, I think, to move on with research. Of course, 2 time frames are still considered. So what has to be done at peaceful time, and there are lots of things to do, but also to prepare what will be done at the time of a crisis itself. So it will be in the partnership. The areas of research I already mentioned, so it will go from very basic research to more advanced research, and going through prophylaxis, therapeutics, diagnosis also, I think there is a need. Public health and the societal domains will be involved and concerned, I think, in a flow of development. So there will not be specific categories for basic research on this kind of domains. No, it will be developed around all the flow of development of future countermeasures. So just to tell you where we are, so after lots of meetings, lots of discussion, lots of exchange, so here you have the plan of the 3 year. So it is developed around 5 main priorities. The first one is to accelerate knowledge in a coordinated and integrative manners. I think it's something that is key at the present time for emerging infectious disease. To boost health innovation, it is something that has to be supported to move from a discovery to a potential product, because afterward there are other steps. Educate, train, and communicate. I've been talking about that. To strengthen the research ecosystem readiness, it is something very important that will be focusing mostly around infrastructures, clinical trial platform, etc., that have to be kept and there at the right level if a crisis arises, and it's a real subject because it's not so easy to develop this kind of activities. And of course, to be in position to have everything ready in terms of research at the time of a crisis, but also including the development of protocol, the availability of standards for diagnosis, etc. Lots of things that will have to be developed in this frame. So here we are. I cannot say more because we are still working on the CSA itself. But there are many ways now to be involved because, as I mentioned, there are 26 partners coming from 15 countries. So it is still open, and there are different ways. So here you have the Gantt of, so the CSA Be Ready is here with the planning I mentioned. I mentioned the fact that an additional CSA will be launched, has been launched. So we will answer. We have prepared the answer. The evaluation will go until May next year, and it should be initiated in June next year. That's the plan agenda, maybe stop before. And of course, you can join. If you are not partner at the present time of Be Ready, you can still join the future CSA. And of course, afterwards, you can join during the preparation of the proposal that would be submitted for the partnership itself. So you have more time because you have around until 26th of November. Just for your information, we have initiated lots of bilateral meetings with the different member state representatives that are not partner at the present time in order to present the future partnership, to discuss with them, to collect their vision on the future. And I think we will be a little bit more than 15 for the proposal that we made for the partnership itself. So just here a view on the, so I think to join, you have to do that before June, mid-June, because afterwards everything will be done and it will be difficult to add additional partners in. Here you have a list of question issues we try to tackle with the different member states we are exchanging with. So you have the question. I will not list all the questions we ask with them, all the points we discussed. And of course, each time it's a very open approach we have, because if they have new ideas or things we would have forget, of course, they are more than welcome to bring their input in. So that's it. Here you have the contact if you want to join one of us. But if you put Be Ready on Google, you will find the website that is already available. Thanks a lot for your attention.
Okay, so our next speaker is from Sweden, from the Swedish Research Council, to be specific. He is Senior Research Policy Officer. Please welcome Patriq Fagerstedt to the stage, please.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, and thank you to the Belgian presidency for organizing this and inviting me to show or share a bit of the views from the One Health AMR partnership. So, a disclaimer, I have no conflict of interest, and whatever I say is my personal opinion, so this doesn't count for the Swedish Research Council nor the design OHAMR, just so you know. So, first a brief recapitulation of the AMR as a silent pandemic. We know, or you know, of course, that this is one of the top global health threats with mortalities that are comparable to COVID-19. We have this famous paper from the Lancet where they estimate that direct deaths are 1.27 million in 2019, and its contribution to 4.95 million deaths from sort of the total fallout. And this is partly or majorly sort of the consequence of human behavior, misuse, abuse, overuse of antibiotics. We also have new evidence now that we see that these two pandemics also interact, that we had a very much over use of antibiotics during the COVID-19. As much as 3/4 of all COVID-19 cases were treated with antibiotics, even though only 8% had a co-infection. So this is also sort of a linkage. Another linkage is, it is a global pandemic, but also here in Europe you see it's growing steadily since the 2019, and this is in contrast to the set goals by the European Council conclusions. So you see Klebsiella here has increased tremendously over the last 3 years. But another linkage, which is more pertaining to the topic of today, is that there are many ways, the strategies that we try to employ to counteract the effects of COVID-19 and the AMR pandemics that are the same. One of which is the need for having an ever-warm clinical trial network. But you see also many other, I need to move this microphone so I can see a bit. We also have the need for investment in R&D, stronger infection prevention measures. We need to scale up the access to vaccines, diagnostics and treatments. We have to ensure manufacturing capacity. We need international cooperation. We need more harmonized surveillance. And we need to share data. We need to have a global risk assessment that has been pointed out also earlier today. And we need to train health workers and provide personal protection, of course. And we also need to pull procurements of essential goods. So there are many, many linkages between the COVID-19 pandemic and the AMR pandemic. Also, we know that the research projects that were conducted in different hospitals or ICUs were badly affected by the COVID-19 when many of the projects were halted or could not be concluded because of the lack of staff or lack of other resources. So what are we doing then from the European Partnership of One Health AMR on this? So we are responding to this call that is open now. So what I'm talking about in detail on this partnership, it's still subject to change. We are still working on the proposal. But we are a CSA that has been funded by the European Commission, design of HAMR, that has been running for 2 years with different partners preparing for this partnership. And it's led by us in Stockholm. And we are a group of research funding agencies coming mainly from the previous initiative, JPI AMR, but also some new recruited countries. Sorry. The total budget is expected to be 330 million euros, out of which 100 is funded by the European Commission. And the objectives of this partnership is as listed. We are, of course, going to contribute to the EU One Health Action Plan and the European Council recommendations on One Health AMR. And this involves coordinating, aligning activities of the funding agencies among countries and beyond. We are going to structure the European research area by increasing participation from the widening countries. And we're also going to strengthen the global cooperation. We have had quite a strong global participation in our call, in our calls of the Joint Programming Initiative, and this we hope will be extended. We're also going to bring together different stakeholders to create a critical mass of resources to implement a strategic research and innovation agenda that has been constructed. This research agenda is now out for public consultation. I will provide a link here later where you can add your comments to that. That would be very helpful. So, all in all, we are moving along the lines of 10 years experience from the Joint Programming Initiative, where we were addressing the challenge of AMR in a broad fashion. We are working both understanding the transmission and evolution. We're working on surveillance, improving diagnostics, therapeutics, and also different interventions, all in a One Health perspective. What is new in this partnership is that we are trying to take these thematic areas and bring them into 3 focal areas, more challenge-oriented. And these are to prevent the emergence and spread of AMR, to strengthen the appropriate use of antimicrobials and infection. This includes diagnostics, and provide innovative and cost-effective treatment options. And this also includes equity and access. So this consultation for this SRIA is open another couple of weeks. So please take your chance and indicate what you think about that. That would be good. These focal areas are implemented in a roadmap and work packages in this partnership. We have 4 what we call programs, more like work packages. 1 pertaining to joint transnational calls, both for research projects and also networks and other types of actions. We have a capacity strengthening program to support training, networking, and collaboration. We have aiming to set up a data exploitation program to facilitate and promote access and sharing of data. This also includes sharing of other resources. And we are also setting up an impact program for knowledge mobilization and valorization. All of these different programs will be channeled into different actions that will be defined in an annual work program, both with joint transnational calls and additional activities. We will build, of course, on the portfolio of the previous 10 years of calls conducted under the umbrella of the Joint Programming Initiative on Antimicrobial Resistance. there we anticipate to move this portfolio and the impact generation of that into the partnership and merge and try to find synergies and networking between those researchers that has been funded previously to the researchers we will be funding in the new partnership. Now, sorry. It's a more complex landscape, maybe with many new partnerships that are starting or being planned to start. All of them are going to take certain responsibility for different One Health aspects of the AMR challenge. So we need to find ways of course, exploiting synergies with these. This includes also the future Be Ready, of course. But there is a challenge how to enter into direct collaboration between partnerships for legal reasons. We are not seeing the opportunity of joining exactly the same calls or contributing to the same calls, but somehow we want to find a way to establish joint synergies between these different activities. So this is actually a question we are discussing right now. How can we make these different partnerships additive? How can we exploit synergies between them and other European initiatives? Can we devise a mechanism for really having joint calls between partnerships somehow in the future? Maybe not this framework program, but maybe in the next. And how can we then, of course, also administrate and jointly support clinical trial networks? What would our role be from our partnership to support nodes or researchers using these networks when they are in sort of resting mode? So, and the same thing as for Be Ready, we are still open to additional countries, funding agencies, or other partners who would like to take part in this project. Just contact us on any of these emails. onehealthamr@vr.se is the main entry point. And I hope to hear from you. Thank you.